Today, today we are going to discuss the two modes of Maya. Two modes of Maya. In previous class, we discussed regarding the general aspects of Maya. What is Maya? And three gunas, the materials of Maya. This time we will discuss the two modes of Maya. Maya appears to us in two different modes or aspects depending upon our way of looking at it. The whole thing, the whole universe, the whole spiritual science stands on our attitude towards ourselves and towards the universe. How we look at the thing. For example, one woman, okay, is someone's beloved wife. But the same woman is someone's mother. At the same time, the same woman is someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone's niece, someone's aunt, someone's daughter-in-law, various names or forms of relationship according to our attitude. The woman is same. But see, person to person, we look at that same woman in different angle. Likewise, the same thing for Maya or the Jagat or the universe. So, when it is in the Maya is in the collective or cosmic form, we call it samashti aspect. And from the individual standpoint, it is called vyashti. It is called vyashti. So samashti and vyashti. From the collective standpoint, Maya is one. But from the individual standpoint, it is many. Vedantic philosophers give the following illustrations we are going to explain. To explain the two modes of Maya, one can look at a number of trees, which is called jungle, and one thing is one tree only. Suppose Homo sapiens sapiens means the whole human kingdom. At the same time, one human personality is also represented as in that way. So, in like manner, Vedantists speak of the collective or cosmic aggregate Maya and of individual Maya. So how it appears to us, how the nameless, formless, enormous power Maya appears in front of us as Upadhi, as Upadhi. Maya, both in its cosmic and in its individual aspect, hides the true nature of Brahman. If you can remember yesterday's class, where I discussed that Maya has two powers. One is hiding or concealing the truth, which is the avarana shakti of Maya, and then project something different, which is not actually, that is called vikshepa shakti, projection power. So it hides the true nature of Brahman. Thus, the infinite and eternal absolute appears as a finite being, limited by time and space, in association with the cosmic Maya, as we shall see presently. Brahman appears as Ishvara, or the personal God, and in associated with the individual Maya as the Jiva, or the individual soul. Okay. In this way, Maya becomes the Upadhi, or limiting adjunct of Brahman. And Upadhi seems to alter or limit the true nature of an object. The formless sky appears to possess sharp lines when viewed through, jagged peaks or skyscrapers. But this limitation is only apparent, not real. The nameless, formless sky appears as blue, but sky has no color. Sky has no color. It is association with the upadhi of various material bodies that makes Brahman appear as gods, angels, men, women, animals, birds, trees, stones, and so many. As Bosanquet once remarked, that when the absolute falls into water, it becomes a fish. The water acts as an upadhi. But it must not be forgotten that the upadhi does not bring about any real change in Brahman. When the upadhi is discarded, the object regarded as finite by the ignorant is realized as Brahman. Now we will discuss about the concept of Ishvara or the personal God according to Vedanta. See, Brahman associated with the Upadhi or collective ignorance is designated by Vedantists as Ishvara or Saguna Brahman, who corresponds roughly to the personal God of various religions. According to non-dualistic Vedanta, the personal God is one step lower than Brahman, just one step lower than Brahman. Though he is the highest symbol or manifestation of Brahman in the relative world. Ishvara, we will just use this word instead of God. Ishvara is endowed with such qualities as omniscience, omnipresence, universal lordship, and unlimited power. Brahman cannot be described by any specific attribute. It is Ishvara and not pure Brahman who in his different aspects is called the creator or Srishtikarta, preserver or Palanakarta, or destroyer or Pralayakarta of the universe. Ishvara or Saguna Brahman, with the help of Sattva aspect, yesterday we discussed about three gunas or attributes: Sattva, Tamas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So with the help of Sattva, Ishvara creates the whole universe. With the help of Rajas, Ishvara preserves or maintain or sustain the whole universe. And with the help of Tamas, Ishvara destroys everything. He is the inner controller, Antaryami of the universe. Antaryamayati yaha saha antaryami. Residing inside, who controls everything else, he is Antaryami or inner controller of the universe. The light of Ishvara that illumines the cosmic ignorance is the light of Brahman. From the standpoint of the pure Brahman, there is no creation. Please pay attention over here. From the standpoint of Brahman, there is no creation. From the standpoint of ignorance, there is creation. Hence, none of the attributes ascribed to Ishvara applies to Brahman. As gold without dross cannot be used for ornaments, So pure Brahman without the dross of Maya cannot create the universe. Ishvara is as it Ishvara is as it were a corruption or deterioration of Brahman. Now we will discuss about Jiva, the vital discussion, important discussion. So Brahman or pure consciousness associated with individual ignorance is called the Jiva or individual living soul. Clear? The Jiva dwells in a body. The consciousness of the Jiva, which is derived from pure consciousness of Brahman, illumines like a lamp the individual ignorance. That's why the mind, the buddhi, the ego, and the senses, which are products of ignorance and material in nature, appear to be conscious. चैतन्यमय लगता है, चेतन लगता है. The individual soul, on account of its being produced by the upadhi of individualized Maya, is unlike Ishvara, devoid of the power of lordship. For the same reason, it is not omniscient like Ishvara. Clear? Ishvara is Mayadhish or Mayapati, beyond Maya, or the Lord of the Maya, controller of the Maya. And we, the individual Jiva, are Mayadhin. We are under the control of Maya. Appears as same. Suppose a minister is going and a heavy criminal, high quality criminal is going. So the minister is surrounded by a lot of security personnel or policemen or cops, but he is the controller of the cops. Suppose police minister, defense minister is going, and he is surrounded by a lot of cops, but he is the controller of the cops. And a high-rated criminal is also walking, and he is surrounded by a lot of cops, but he is under the control of the cops. Clear the example? So both Ishvara and Jiva are associated with Maya. Both are products of Maya, but the difference between them lies in the fact that Maya is under control of Ishvara, whereas the Jiva or individualized being is under the control of Maya. The limitations imposed by Maya upon the Jiva make it totally forget its real nature. But Ishvara cannot be injured by his Maya, as the cobra cannot be injured by its own poison. Both Ishvara and Jiva are manifestation of Brahman on the relative plane, but Ishvara is free, like a spider which moves freely on its web, whereas the Jiva is entangled in the world. How? Like a silkworm imprisoned in its own cocoon. Ishvara uses Maya as his instrument for the purpose of the creation, preservation, and dissolution of the universe through Maya again. It should be remembered. He exercises his lordship over it, but the Jiva is a slave of Maya, Maya Das. It must never be forgotten that from the standpoint of pure Brahman, Maya is non-existent. Therefore, both Ishvara and Jiva are non-existent from the standpoint of the absolute Brahman. Both are appearances. But on the relative plane, the Jiva is the worshipper and Ishvara the worshipped. Ishvara is the creator and the Jiva the created being. Ishvara is the father and lord, and the Jiva is his child or servant. Though Ishvara is one step lower than Brahman, yet his importance in the relative world is beyond all measure. As a matter of fact, since Brahman is the unrelated absolute, it cannot be an object of the Jiva's thought or adoration. At the same time, Ishvara, the personal God, derives his power and reality from Brahman and is the highest conception of the infinite that can be formed by the finite mind. When the highest flight of spiritual experience is reached, then both the individual soul and the personal God merge in Brahman, and the three become one. Brahman alone exists. The collective or cosmic Maya is superior to the individual Maya. The former is the upadhi of Ishvara, whereas the latter is the upadhi of the Jiva. The collective Maya consists of the three gunas, namely Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. In previous class we discussed. In association with them, Ishvara creates, preserves, and destroys the universe. Though associated with Maya, he is always aware of his true nature, and which is none other than Brahman. The collective Maya is the stuff out of which the material universe is created. Hence, it is known as the causal body. It appears to conceal Brahman like a sheath, but through it, the Ananda or bliss of Brahman permeates Ishvara. That is why it is called the Anandamaya Kosha or sheath of bliss. At the time of the cosmic dissolution, when a cycle comes to an end, all gross and subtle beings merge in the cosmic Maya. Hence, it is designated as the cosmic sleep. This cosmic Maya is regarded as the energy or power inherent in Ishvara. It is worshipped as Mother Kali or Shakti, the Divine Mother, Amba, in the popular Hindu religion or Vedanta. From the individual Maya, the ego, mind, senses, and body of the Jiva are produced. Now, hence, this is known as the causal body of the Jiva. During deep sleep, the gross and the subtle body of the Jiva merge in the causal body. We studied in our previous text in Tattva Bodha, definitions of Vedanta. I think you can remember. Or if you can't remember, go to the YouTube channel and listen to it, what is causal body. Hence, the individual Maya is often designated as deep sleep. In that state, it remains in an undifferentiated form. The individual Maya appears to conceal Atma or pure consciousness like a sheath, but through it, the Ananda or bliss of Atma permeates the Jiva in deep sleep, which is characterized by an absence of the pain and suffering experienced in the waking and dream state. That's why it likewise is called the Anandamaya Kosha or sheath of bliss in sheath of bliss. In dreamless sleep, Atma is covered by the veiling power of ignorance. That's all. Hari Om Tat Sat.